Ladies and gentlemen, before we dive into this important discussion, let me ask you a question. Have you ever noticed how sometimes the things we take for granted turn out to be the most valuable? In business, in life, and in geopolitics, it is often the partners we underestimate that shape our greatest successes or failures. Today, we're going to talk about one such partner, one country that may not always make headlines in the West, but without it, the global balance of power would look very different. That country is Pakistan. Now, I want you to think for a moment, not as politicians, not as analysts, but as people who care about the future. Imagine the world without Pakistan as an ally of the United States. Imagine what happens to trade routes, to security, to stability in Asia and the Middle East. Imagine what happens when rivals step in to take that place. This is not a theory, it is a possibility that could change the course of global politics. In this speech, we are not here to argue about history or dwell on mistakes. We are here to look forward, to understand why America cannot afford to lose Pakistan and why this relationship is not about convenience, but about necessity. From geography to security, from economics to diplomacy, the facts are undeniable. Pakistan matters, and the future of America's influence depends on how it engages with this nation. So stay with me until the very end, because by the time we conclude, you will not only see why Pakistan is indispensable, but you will also understand why the choices America makes today will determine whether it remains a leader in tomorrow's world or a bystander in someone else's game. Pakistan's geostrategic location has always been at the center of global discussions, and for the United States, it is not just a matter of regional significance, but one of global consequence. Situated at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East, Pakistan connects some of the most critical and contested regions of the world. It shares borders with China, India, Afghanistan, and Iran, each of which plays a defining role in shaping the balance of power. For America, this position is not merely geographical, it is a gateway to influence, access, and control over vital trade routes, energy corridors, and security interests. Losing Pakistan would mean losing the ability to anchor itself in a region where the great power competition is intensifying every day. Pakistan's proximity to the Arabian Sea provides direct access to maritime routes that connect the oil-rich Middle East with the rest of the world. At a time when global energy security is constantly under threat, keeping close ties with a country that sits on such vital routes is essential. This is not only about securing oil of supply chains, but also about ensuring freedom of navigation and trade across waters that are increasingly contested. America's naval presence in the region depends on cooperation with partners, and Pakistan's ports, especially Gwadar, are emerging as critical points of connectivity. If Washington distances itself, Beijing and other regional powers will eagerly fill the vacuum, shifting the balance of influence. Equally important is Pakistan's role as a bridge between South and Central Asia. For decades, policymakers have viewed Pakistan as the key to unlocking economic and security cooperation with landlocked Central Asian republics. These states hold untapped energy resources and represent emerging markets. Without Pakistan's cooperation, America's outreach to this region would face serious limitations, as alternative routes are not only longer but often unstable. Moreover, Pakistan's geographic reality places it at the heart of America's regional security strategy. Afghanistan's stability cannot be imagined without Pakistan's involvement, and peace in the broader South Asian theater requires Pakistan's active participation. The reality is that no long-term solution to regional conflicts can bypass Islamabad. Its influence, rooted in geography, history, and shared borders, makes it indispensable. problem for America. Ignoring Pakistan's geostrategic position would be a strategic miscalculation, because in global politics, geography is destiny, and Pakistan's position ensures it will always remain relevant in shaping outcomes that extend far beyond its borders. Counterterrorism and security cooperation between the United States and Pakistan has been one of the most defining aspects of their relationship, particularly in the post-9/11 era. Pakistan's role has been central in dismantling terror networks, providing crucial intelligence, and facilitating operations that targeted groups threatening both regional and global stability. For America, Pakistan's cooperation is not simply about partnership, it is about necessity. Its geography places it right next to Afghanistan, a country that was once the epicenter of terrorism. And this proximity made Pakistan indispensable in the war on terror. Without Pakistan's logistical support, intelligence sharing, and ground access, America's military and counterterrorism operations in Afghanistan would have been far more difficult, if not impossible. The reality is that Pakistan has suffered greatly in this struggle. It has endured thousands of casualties, both civilian and military, and its infrastructure and economy have faced immense strain. Yet, despite these challenges, Pakistan has remained a critical ally in fighting extremist groups that threaten not only South Asia, but the wider world. The elimination of high-value targets, the disruption of terror financing, and the neutralization of safe havens have all been possible through cooperation with Pakistan. This record proves that while disagreements may exist at the political level, the operational necessity of this partnership cannot be ignored. Pakistan's intelligence network is among the most extensive in the region, and it has provided the United States with insights that no satellite, drone, or foreign agency could have achieved alone. This unique local knowledge, combined with America's technological edge, has been a force multiplier in countering threats like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. If Washington were to lose Pakistan's support, its visibility in this volatile region would diminish significantly, leaving gaps that extremist groups could exploit. Moreover, Pakistan's role in ensuring the stability of Afghanistan remains crucial. Without Pakistan's cooperation in securing its borders and facilitating dialogue, the risk of Afghanistan once again becoming a safe haven for transnational terrorism grows exponentially. The ripple effect of such instability would not remain confined to South Asia. It would inevitably extend to Europe and the United States, as history has already shown. Security cooperation with Pakistan is, therefore, not an optional engagement for America. It is a strategic imperative. In a world where terrorism constantly evolves and adapts, having Pakistan as a frontline partner ensures that America remains one step ahead in protecting its interests and those of its allies. Pakistan's status as a nuclear power places it at the heart of one of the most sensitive balances of power in the modern world, particularly in South Asia. The rivalry between Pakistan and India, both nuclear-armed states, is not only regional but carries global implications. For the United States, maintaining constructive engagement with Pakistan is vital to ensuring that this nuclear balance does not spiral into instability or uncontrolled escalation. Alienating Pakistan would mean losing the ability to influence the delicate dynamics of deterrence in South Asia, where even small miscalculations can have catastrophic consequences. So the fact that Pakistan possesses one of the fastest growing nuclear arsenals makes it a central concern for global security. Its development of tactical nuclear weapons and advanced delivery systems is both a source of deterrence against India and a matter of international monitoring. America's relationship with Pakistan provides a channel to encourage restraint, foster responsible command and control mechanisms, and prevent the possibility of proliferation. If Pakistan were pushed away, Washington would lose this leverage, potentially creating conditions where other powers, particularly China, would dominate the conversation on nuclear stability in the region. Another dimension is the persistent tension along the line of control in Kashmir. This flashpoint has triggered multiple conflicts between India and Pakistan, and in the absence of constructive U.S. engagement, the chances of escalation remain high. The 2019 Pulwama-Balakot crisis demonstrated how quickly both countries could approach the brink of war, with nuclear undertones always present in the background. The United States has historically played a quiet but important role in de-escalation, leveraging its ties to Islamabad to prevent crises from crossing dangerous thresholds. Without a strong relationship with Pakistan, such interventions would become far less effective. Additionally, the fear of nuclear materials or technology falling into the wrong hands has long been a concern for the global community. Pakistan's security establishment has taken extensive measures to safeguard its assets, but international reassurance and cooperation remain critical. The United States, by maintaining a constructive relationship, helps reinforce these security frameworks and reduces risks that would otherwise create anxiety in global non-proliferation regimes. Engagement with Pakistan on nuclear matters is therefore not simply about South Asia. It is about global stability. In a world where nuclear competition is resurging, Washington cannot afford to distance itself from a country whose decisions directly affect not only regional peace, but the overall credibility of international security systems. The deepening partnership between China and Pakistan has become one of the most defining geopolitical developments of the 21st century, and it carries profound implications for the United States. The China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, commonly known as CPEC, is more than just a series of infrastructure projects. It is a cornerstone of Beijing's Belt and Road Initiative and represents a long-term strategic investment in Pakistan's economy, ports, energy sector, and connectivity. For China, Pakistan is not just an ally, it is a gateway to the Arabian Sea and a direct link to Middle Eastern markets. For America, this growing bond signals the shrinking of its own space in South Asia if it fails to maintain strong ties with Islamabad. The Port of Gwadar, a flagship project of CP, exemplifies the strategic dimension of this partnership. Located near the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil choke points, Gwadar gives China potential naval and commercial access that could challenge U.S. dominance in the Indian Ocean. If America distances itself from Pakistan, it effectively leaves this space uncontested, allowing Beijing to expand its influence in a region where maritime competition is already intensifying. This is not just about trade routes, it is about strategic control of some of the most vital sea lanes in the world. Beyond infrastructure, the China-Pakistan partnership is built on military, technological, and diplomatic cooperation. Beijing is already Pakistan's largest defense supplier, providing advanced weapon systems, fighter jets, and naval assets. Joint ventures and exercises further solidify this defense bond, reducing Pakistan's reliance on Western military equipment. From Washington's perspective, this trend represents a gradual loss of leverage as Islamabad increasingly looks to Beijing for both security and economic assurances. The more isolated America becomes in its relationship with Pakistan, the deeper Pakistan will lean into China's orbit. Economically, CPEC offers Pakistan billions in investments that address its chronic energy shortages and infrastructure deficits. This creates a strong perception in Pakistan that China is a reliable partner in times of need, while America is often seen as conditional or transactional in its approach. Such perceptions matter because they shape public opinion and policy making, gradually diminishing the appeal of U.S. engagement. In the broader context of U.S.-China rivalry, losing Pakistan means losing an opportunity to balance Beijing's growing presence in South Asia and the Indian Ocean. Washington cannot afford to watch silently as Pakistan becomes an exclusive partner of China, because that shift would not only weaken U.S. influence in the region, but also accelerate the creation of an Asia more firmly aligned with Beijing's vision of global order. Pakistan's economic potential and its role as a natural hub for connectivity make it a country that no major power, including the United States, can afford to ignore. With a population of over 240 million, most of whom are young and increasingly urbanized, Pakistan represents both a vast consumer market and a dynamic labor force. This demographic advantage, if properly harnessed, positions the country as one of the emerging economies of the future. For America, maintaining ties with Pakistan means access to this growing market and the opportunity to shape economic partnerships that can yield long-term benefits. Losing Pakistan, on the other hand, would mean leaving space for competitors, particularly China, to dominate the economic landscape. Geographically, Pakistan is uniquely placed as a bridge between South Asia, Central Asia, and the Middle East. Few countries enjoy such connectivity, linking three regions that hold immense strategic and economic value. Pakistan's road networks, rail projects, and ports make it a natural transit hub for goods and energy flows. For the United States, which has long sought to expand trade routes and energy corridors that bypass choke points or politically unstable areas, Pakistan provides an irreplaceable option. From pipelines connecting Central Asia's energy resources to global markets to overland routes that shorten supply chains, Pakistan's location offers opportunities that go far beyond its borders. The United States has historically invested in Pakistan's economic development, from energy projects to trade initiatives. But in recent years, China has taken the lead with large-scale infrastructure projects under CPEC. This shift risks sidelining America at a time when global competition increasingly revolves around economic influence rather than military strength. If Washington disengages, it will miss the chance to partner in projects that not only benefit Pakistan, but also open avenues for U.S. companies to expand into new markets. Furthermore, Pakistan's participation in regional organizations such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and its growing trade links with the Gulf countries amplify its role in global commerce. As supply chains are being redefined in the post-pandemic world, Pakistan's strategic location near the Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean could help anchor new logistics and manufacturing networks. Ignoring this potential would be a strategic oversight, especially as other powers move swiftly to capitalize on it. America's ability to shape the economic future of South and Central Asia is directly tied to its relationship with Pakistan. Choosing disengagement would mean forfeiting not just influence in Pakistan itself, but also the broader opportunity to remain a central player in one of the most strategically valuable regions for global trade and energy security. America's relationship with Pakistan has always carried significance beyond bilateral ties because it shapes how the wider Muslim world perceives U.S. foreign policy. Pakistan, being the second largest Muslim majority country and the only one with nuclear capability, holds symbolic and practical weight in the collective consciousness of Muslim nations. Its voice resonates across the Islamic world, from the Middle East to Southeast Asia, and its position on global issues often influences broader public opinion. If America distances itself from Pakistan, it risks not only losing influence in South Asia, but also eroding its soft power among Muslim-majority countries that closely observe Washington's treatment of Islamabad. The perception of America in the Muslim world has often been colored by narratives of mistrust, shaped by conflicts, interventions, and inconsistent policies. A strong, respectful partnership with Pakistan offers the U.S. a chance to counterbalance these perceptions by demonstrating that it values cooperation with a leading Muslim country, not just on security grounds, but also on trade, development, and diplomacy. When Pakistan is sidelined or treated as expendable, the message resonates far beyond its borders, reinforcing the belief that American partnerships are transactional and short-lived. This damages U.S. credibility in regions where winning hearts and minds is just as critical as military presence. Pakistan also plays an important role in international platforms such as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, where its stance can shape collective decisions on issues ranging from Palestine to global humanitarian crisis. By engaging with Pakistan, America can indirectly influence conversations within the OIC and other multilateral spaces where Western voices often face skepticism. Without Pakistan's cooperation, Washington risks isolating itself from these discussions, allowing rivals to step in and define the narrative. Moreover, public diplomacy in today's interconnected world depends heavily on perceptions. America's adversaries often highlight its strained ties with Muslim nations to argue that U.S. foreign policy is biased or dismissive toward the Muslim world. A healthy relationship with Pakistan challenges this narrative, showing that Washington can engage respectfully with a major Islamic country while still advancing its own interests. Losing this connection would not only hurt U.S. diplomacy in South Asia, but also weaken its ability to build bridges in the Middle East, North Africa, and beyond. The long-term implications of sidelining Pakistan extend beyond strategy and economics. They touch on identity, values, and legitimacy in global affairs. America's ability to sustain influence in the Muslim world is inseparable from its relationship with Pakistan, making this partnership a cornerstone of its global image and soft power. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have seen, Pakistan is not just another country on the world map. It is a pivotal state whose geography, security role, nuclear balance, economic potential, partnership with China, and influence in the Muslim world all shape the future of global order. For America, losing Pakistan would not simply mean losing a partner. It would mean forfeiting influence over critical trade routes, security frameworks, and diplomatic narratives that extend far beyond South Asia. The cost of disengagement is far greater than the cost of sustained partnership because the stakes involve not just one region, but the balance of power across Asia, the Middle East, and the wider world. In a century defined by competition, connectivity, and perception, Pakistan stands as a bridge America cannot afford to burn. So as we reflect on these realities, the message becomes clear. America's relationship with Pakistan is not optional, it is essential. The future will be shaped not by isolation, but by cooperation, not by distance, but by dialogue. It is in this spirit that both nations must look ahead with clarity, responsibility, and vision. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best in your endeavors. Good luck, and may our collective efforts always be guided by wisdom and purpose.